So we have here the material model. First of all, I'm going to draw a line here, and everything we have above, we say that's everything which has to do with creation. It's the material world. It's, in another word, what I'm using for is the three-dimensional world. Below here we have the nothing, and there are other words or expression for it. For example, the quantum physics calls it the implicit order, and it says also implicit, everything comes out of this order and creates the creation above. Then we have other philosophists who calls it self, it's void. Eckhart Tolle, for example, is talking about the now, and we are using here the term pure awareness. We are not going to talk a lot in the beginning and also later on about the nothing, since our mind gets a little bit crazy with that, since nothing is not nothing for the mind. He tries to attract what he knows from the past, and then he's going to explain what the nothing is, and that's for sure not what it is. It's trying to label it, you know. And as you can imagine, for example, if you have a plant, how can you, with the mind, to get the wholeness of the plant? The mind will just try to control everything and to label it. There is roots, there are leaves, it has this color, it is this high, and so on. But I think it doesn't represent what really a plant is. And so the mind is trying also, not only in the material world here, in the creation, but also here he tries to take everything apart, to put it together and to define it. And this is not all about nothing, so we leave that for a moment, and we are focusing at the moment here on the material world. The material world actually is also the world where the law of Newton are taking place, that is cause and effect. And you can have an illustration on that if you have a billiard table, and if you hit the balls and then they come with a certain velocity on the next ball and then it hits the other one, you know exactly if you do that cause here that it will have this and this effect, that this ball will then go in this and that direction. That's how our mind and also Newton's world is all about, that we think we can control everything here by the cause and effect laws. But as you know, probably that didn't work out very, very good. Even big computers cannot calculate all these effects. And we know that even if a butterfly is having his waves flying, that it will have an effect on the weather somewhere else on the world. Or if you pick up a crumb, you know, it has an effect on the gravity on the whole universe. And this model won't work for that. And even if we take quantum mechanics and physics, they say that if you take an atom and would expand that the nucleus of an atom is as big as a basketball, that the electron would be 30 kilometers away as a tennis ball, and in between there is nothing. So actually what quantum physics says is that, you know, our whole universe and everything is made out of 90.99% of nothing. Now, what is the rest of it is 0.01%, Now imagine that our mind is only capable of taking up, I don't know, perhaps a couple of percent with our sense, what we can see. Of course, there's more behind that. Even if we would add them with our instruments, all what we can measure, then I would say just roughly perhaps another 10%. So actually what we are talking about here is 0.001%. And now this is where our mind is fixed to. And I find that quite amazing that our mind is telling us how the world is functioning based on the 0.001% he is taking knowledge of. Now coming back to the creation, to the objects or what we see, I think the most obvious thing we have around here, and that's where you're sitting on, that's a chair. And if we go now levels deeper, the chair is made out of molecules. I just draw that here as a molecule, so. And the molecule is made out of atoms. So there's the atom nucleus. Of course, we know today that's not looking like that from quantum physics. And atoms are made of subatomic particles. And the particles are made out of waves. Okay? One can go even one step further here, which I don't want to. Latest explanation even talking about information here. Now, what we see on these levels here is the more refined we are going down here, the more energy we will have, and also the more order. For example, the energy which is stored in the chair, you can very easily see if you burn it, then the energy comes out. Now, if you take a molecule and take it apart, it needs even more energy to come to that point where you can crack it. And if we are talking about atoms, you know, if we are going to divide the atoms, we get out much more energy. This is nuclear energy. And so it goes, you know, more subtle. And actually, if we are working, you know, from an energetic point of view, waves, of course, have the most energy and the most order. Now, if we compare actually the different healing techniques we are known of today, if we would start on that level, I mean, if you have a broken leg of your chair, what are you going to do? You fix it with some screws or nails or whatever. If something happened to our leg, we undergo surgery. And even if you do and see that level as the level of sense where we can touch something, it is also the level where massage or acupressure or acupuncture is doing or physiotherapy is done. So all these type of things are on that level. If we go a step deeper, this is molecules, so this is actually medication, it is also homeopathic herbs which are used here, so we have substances. Of course, in homeopathic we have even at the end not any substance in there, but in low doses we have. Then in the atomic area there are at the moment therapy I'm not so familiar with. However, images, nuclear resonance images are there. And on the subatomic level, I don't know if there is anything ongoing at the moment. However, if we go on the wave level, there of course we have especially those techniques which are having to do with the word energy healing. I mean, there are examples like Reiki, but also healers or there are are thousands actually of different techniques which are dealing with energy. And of course, when we are working on this level, we have much more effect on the other levels above, since, you know, as we have seen, the energy is made out, or the waves, the particles are made out of waves, and the atoms are made out of particles, and the molecules are made out of the atoms, and the chair at least is then made out of the molecules. Now, if I would like to stay for a moment for energy healing, since this is something which is quite popular at the moment, how does it work actually? Now, I'm very bad actually in drawing, so if we have a man here, and he has some problems with his right hand, so I just make it like that to mark it. So let's assume it's carpal tunnel syndrome, and if we look now on the wave level how this looks like, then it could be that, you know, these waves are going very disorganized and induces then the pain, whereas in the healthy part, you know, it looks very nice and perhaps, you know, like this, so representing the normal state. Now, how can you do with energy healing that his right hand becomes, you know, healthy as or normal as the left hand? So how does this picture appear on that one? And there, you know, we have to go a little bit on the theory on waves. And the best thing is to compare it with the waves on the beach, and probably have to be at the sea watching some of the waves. And if the waves are coming in, you know, you probably have seen that if another wave is coming behind it, that if the waves are coming together at the same point, that they add up. So if the other wave is also coming in like that, then we will end up with a bigger wave here. Yeah? Now, if the waves is coming in like that, and then is pulling back, and the new wave from the sea is coming in and goes exactly this way, then there will be no waves anymore, so the power and the energy will be taken up by the two waves, and then it's flat. Yeah? So what happened here is, first, to get off these disharmonious waves, there will be waves who will neutralize one or the other wave, and then there will additional waves which coming in, which then brings, you know, these type of pictures. So when we then at the end have a similar picture like this, then we are seeing the healing process ongoing. And that's of course quite interesting and quite effective, and a lot of people are talking about these energy level waves. Now, what I want to make here clear, that if we are talking about QE, and I think this is the most important message I would like to give, and that you really remember, quantum entrainment is not a healing technique. Since quantum entrainment is neither a technique, neither does it have to do anything with energy, it does not to have anything with form, it is something that we get our mind, as we have seen by our exercise, to become aware, and we have now already introduced our word here of pure awareness. So it's bringing our mind on a subtle way to become aware on pure awareness. And we are going to now have an experience in that way, and I would like to make the next exercise with you.